Good morning, everybody. It is a rainy Wednesday morning here. So if you can hardly see me, or I look a little creepy because I just have that computer light look on me right now. That's because it is super dark and rainy here. Despite the fact that we've actually had some really beautiful weather here in Wichita. So good morning. I hope you guys have your cup of coffee. I do. I definitely needed some caffeine to get going this morning. And today I wanted to talk about a question that was asked about having the ability to make friends after having a lot of really bad encounters with friends or having a distrust for people or just bad vibes about people. And so it's really sometimes answering these questions about what it takes to really start making friends again and trusting people. It needs a little bit more context. So I would say there's two different things. Number one, oftentimes people don't learn what trustworthy people even are because maybe even in their original family systems that they grew up in, they didn't really learn what healthy, trustworthy, emotionally available, and safe people were because they didn't actually have that example in their family systems. Or maybe they only had one person in their life that showed them that, and maybe a lot of other people that showed them a lot of other things. And so they never really innately learned what a trustworthy or emotionally available person was. And so, with that, I think number one, we have to learn what trustworthy people are because if we don't even know what to look for, we will inevitably choose people that struggle to be trustworthy and safe. And usually, with that, we will be typically hurt more by those people, and we won't quite understand why we keep choosing people that hurt us because we don't even know that we're choosing those types of people that can't help but hurt us, if that makes any sense. I don't think that people who struggle with trustworthiness are bad people. I just think that they are hurt people, that they are struggling people, and they just don't honestly know any better. So I have a lot of empathy for people, and I'm not saying we can't have connections with those people, but I would definitely encourage that we only get really close and share our vulnerabilities, our deepest, darkest secrets with people who have earned their trustworthiness. So, first, we have to learn what the heck is a trustworthy person, right? And so, one of the tools that I've used over the years has been Brene Brown's Anatomy of Trustworthiness, where she talks about the principle of braving. And that's an acronym for all these different trustworthy features, including, a person who has boundaries, who sets them, and also respects yours. A person who is reliable, which means they do what they say they're going to do consistently. A person who's accountable, that means when they do inevitably mess up, that they own their stuff instead of blaming other people or the world. A person who keeps secrets, so that's the V for vaults, and doesn't gossip about other people or try to make friends just by gossiping about other people or hating on the same things. And integrity is the I. So that means they show up as they are no matter who they're around and even when people disagree with them. N is for non-judgment. So that means that they always try to put themselves in the shoes of other people and really understand their context. And G is for generosity, where they assume the best about people's intentions first instead of the worst. And that's all those features are so incredibly important for a person to have to be emotionally safe and trustworthy. The second part that I think is really important to consider is that oftentimes when we struggle to trust other people, we also have issues with trusting ourselves or maybe even have not a great relationship with ourselves. Maybe because we have all this stuff going on inside internally, it makes it harder for us to want to be around other people because we are afraid of what's going on here and really sharing that with other people or feeling like we can contain that while we are around other people. So one of the keys to learning how to trust people and reconnect with good friendships is also making sure that inevitably we trust ourselves, that we've made the connection to feeling safe with who we are so that we can be around other people and feel internally safe too. And so using those same braving principles, we have to kind of, through actions, actually prove to ourselves that we ourselves are trustworthy. And the biggest way I see this in clients where they struggle with this is often they don't advocate for themselves when something isn't okay for them, or, if they disagree with something, they will keep quiet. And slowly that chips away at their trust in themselves. That trust that says, hey, I trust myself to advocate for myself, to take care of me, to make sure that my needs are met, because often they will do things where their needs go under the rug, or they always put others first, or they're always considering how other people will react to things before they think about how they feel about things. And so through time, we have to actually build up our self-respect to feel emotional safety and trust with ourselves. And that's key too. We have to do things that where we show ourselves where we're reliable, where if we set goals, and I would argue that we really have to set realistic small goals, especially if we're struggling with something like depression, where we slowly prove to ourselves that we're going to do what we set out to do in our minds, right? And that also builds trust. That also builds safety and that self-efficacy that we need to feel internally good to go out there and connect with other people. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is helpful for somebody who's really struggling with trust in other people, or maybe just thinking that other people suck, or they've had this really bad experience with either intimate relationships or even friendships, and just having this perspective that like people suck. And I agree that sometimes people can suck, for sure. We can be the worst. We can hurt people and do bad things, but I guarantee you that when we learn what trustworthiness is and how to see that in other people, and when we develop trustworthiness inside of ourselves and really truly trust and feel like internally at peace with ourselves, relationships can be really awesome, and people can be super wonderful and super meaningful, and they don't suck so much. Not that they're not ever going to disappoint you, because even healthy people like myself, I even disappoint people from time to time, but that ultimately you can connect with them and trust them and form these really deep-rooted, valuable relationships. I hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday. If you enjoy the rain, kind of reminisce in all this raininess we're having. If not, I do think the sunshine is going to come out later this week. So I'm a sunshine type of gal, so I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of enjoying this vibe and this coffee. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9:15.